All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome into this week's edition of the South Florida Comedy Calendar. This show, that's your one-stop shop for everything South Florida comedy, guys. I am Sebastian Alvarez, your host, as I am every single week. We are coming to you live from the Black Studio here in South Miami at the Community Newspapers, and I am joined, as I am every week, by my good friend and co-host, Art Roche. How are we doing today, Art?
Pretty good, Zebby. I'm glad to see that Taylor Swift couldn't help these guys throw and catch footballs this weekend. It's almost like if the refs carry you the whole season and then you have to play a real team at the end, you get blown out. I don't know. It's crazy.
Damn, Art really asked ChatGPT to describe what happened in the NFL season and the Super Bowl, and that's the answer that it spit out. Congrats, Art. You actually sound semi like a non-immigrant of this country.
I'm learning.
Congratulations. Congrats, bro. That's cool. I am also joined today, guys, by two guests that I am very excited to talk about and that I think you guys in the South Florida comedy scene are going to get a lot of really valuable and cool information from. And those are our good friends, and I want everybody here in the studio audience to put a round of applause for Allison, McCoin, and Tarek. Turjman, baby.
Yes.
How y'all doing?
I didn't just have to Google who won the Super Bowl. That wasn't no.
There was something going on last night?
Yeah, no, apparently there was something in between the Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. There was a sandwich of entertainment around the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's crazy. I just heard him say that Drake was a pedophile. That was I think that was the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
I sung along.
You did?
Yeah.
I think all of America did. I think
we all did.
That's why it hurts Drake so much in the heart. He was like, damn, a stadium of people in New Orleans, you know?
Yeah.
Or like if it was in LA with Kendrick and it was his people, that's one thing. But he's taking it. It's New Orleans. It's
this
damn.
is a national phenomenon. We all know the words, and we will all dance with it.
No,
okay? We saw Taylor Swift at the Grammys. Okay, this is a crowd pleaser for everyone.
No, and I think it's cool because they actually just announced that Trump is signing an executive order that may change "Not Like Us" to the national anthem. That might be the new national anthem. You know,
he hates Canada so much that he's gonna
America, not like us.
I think he appreciates way too many pedophiles.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
No, that's true. That's
I think
true.
his buddies might get mad.
You know, I didn't think about that.
I will say this to all the people that are doing like these big watch parties. Please pay for the fucking premium package so we don't have streaming issues while we're watching. Like, I paid $20 to watch the game somewhere. I'm not gonna shout them out because it's a pretty good venue, but I don't want to talk shit about them. But like halfway through the halfway show, it just stopped and they couldn't stream.
Oh, the venues are not paying for the.
Yeah, they're like
they're
two
illegally
drinks pays for it. Come on, bro.
They're illegally live streaming this.
Yeah, they're pirating the fucking
Stream East to get their stuff.
Yeah,
no
that's
way.
Wild. Well, that is Miami.
Yeah, the whole time had like North Korean subtitles on the bottom.
Like, where did this come from?
And then there's a random. They just stop for a second and they talk about how cool Kim Jong-un is. Like, he is an amazing leader.
Who produced this? Yeah.
Our leader invented football.
Yeah. It was a team scored a touchdown and then they cut to a bunch of North Koreans just crying in celebration. They were celebrating that Kim Jong-un had scored, and I was like, that was AJ Brown. What are we talking about here? I'm confused.
The Supreme Leader is actually very talented.
He is
many
really good.
different.
No. He scored 1,000 points in a basketball game once. Yeah.
He shot the first time he played golf. He shot 9.
He shot 9
hole-in-ones.
Yeah.
Back to back.
He shot a 9.
Yeah.
That was his score.
But you know, the basketball game, no one was allowed to probably score against.
No defense.
Him and Dennis Rodman, I believe, were like a dynamic duo that put up a bunch of points. Yeah.
Oh,
I think I
pictures of
believed
that.
you
He
for a
put
minute.
Dennis
I was
Rodman
like,
put him on his shoulders.
He would do that.
Dennis Rodman went to North Korea.
Dennis Rodman went
and played with him.
Dennis
that's one of his best
goes
friends.
to Korea all the time.
North Korea.
Dennis Rodman is actually, he may be America's greatest asset. With this relationship, he may be America's greatest asset. No lie.
He is.
He's a bit beyond his time too.
No,
that is true. I actually saw a kid. He was like doing an autograph signing, and some kid came up to him and like he signed the thing, and he was like, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." And even Dennis Rodman was laughing, and he was like, "He's like, that's a lot, kid." Come on.
Your dad told you to say this. Your dad wants this.
Yeah. No, yeah. And also, if your dad told you to say this, your dad's a messed up dude.
Yeah, for real.
If you've ever heard anything about that guy's social life or like what happened off the court, I mean, insane.
No. The way he presents himself is accurate to the way he lives his life.
Absolutely. No, and I will say this. Dennis Rodman.
I was
Dennis
on
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah,
Sorry.
if you ever want to
I'm
watch,
gay, so I'm a little lost right now, guys. I'm waiting for.
He did drag a bunch of times.
he does. Yeah, he did.
I know. All I know about right now is Dennis Rodman. He's kind of a queer icon because he would go there back in the 90s.
True.
Before
you know?
he was.
But he's very much a
before.
heterosexual. He got all the hottest chicks.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, he dated Carmen Electra.
Madonna.
I know about the penis stories when he broke his penis
Yeah.
a few times.
Wait,
It was-
what?
So
Yeah.
that's you took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, you took to see that whole.
Yeah,
thing.
you took the words
You
out
took
of
the
my mouth.
penis right out of his
The
mouth.
penis. Dennis Rodman's penis right out of my mouth.
Got jealous.
So if you want to see, and I was gonna let everyone on Comedy Calendar, if you want to see something hilarious, look up Party Legends, which is
Right.
it was
That's what
it was the
is,
show
yeah.
on Viceland where they would get celebrities to talk about like crazy nights that they would
worst
have.
night, yeah, or
and
the
then,
craziest night,
Yeah,
yeah.
crazy night, worst, whatever it is, but like a crazy story that they had, and then they would animate it, and like every episode would be like 3 or 4 celebrities.
Every time I think about it, my penis kind of hurts.
Yeah,
because
he-
he says there was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
he-
yeah, because when you
He said he was on a boat and he did like a sprint dove.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it just skink broke.
Oh my God.
Yeah, had to go to the hospital. Apparently, it wasn't also the first time.
Yeah.
wait,
It happened.
Wait,
It had
so
happened.
so he was.
He was on the bottom of a boat,
Yeah.
and a nice boat where there are beds. And
Okay,
so
okay.
the
A
girl
yacht.
was on the bed,
It was
and
a
he
yacht.
sprinted and tried to jump into the.
He tried to
The
just jump
vagina.
into
into
her.
her. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
no, that is.
They do
that's,
that in the Caribbean, like in Jamaica. I mean,
It's a cultural thing.
it's a
They were-
culture.
they
Look,
were-
I
in
have
Caribbean
never,
waters.
I've
They were
never
in
seen
Caribbean
a dude
waters.
get a dick
Yeah.
in a vagina the first time without having to
There's-
first be like, wait,
Hey.
yeah, and
But
I mean,
wait.
please, I mean, DM me, text me, or don't. But I'm not like that. But like, if I'm wrong, comment below. But I think I think in Jamaica, you know how they try to do that while they're dancing.
Yes.
They, that the guy
I know
like
what you're
stands on
talking
a
about.
barrel and then
Mhm.
jumps on the girl while they're dancing.
Mhm.
I don't know if they actually
thing.
try that a little bit. Maybe not that like in bed because
No, it's
Wow.
true. It's true.
You know what? You
I've
know
heard
what?
it from a few guys where they want to like jump.
It
into
also happened.
I give that girl props because she was ready and willing. It sounds like.
Yeah, if you're
And
playing-
Oh, yeah.
good for you if you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
handle
yeah.
Dennis Rodman running into your
quite
vagina.
literally dunking in you.
Yeah, like that
Well,
seems like there'd be a lot of force no matter what.
If a
Yeah,
young
he's
lady,
like 6'8", 250 pounds
Yeah.
at least.
yeah, and if a young lady's trying to catch rebounds from Dennis Rodman, you know, what I mean, the greatest
Split her
rebounder in
half.
NBA,
That's
you know
not
what I mean?
gonna happen.
Not
I
possible.
don't know.
But it's still not as bad as Louis C.K., right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Moving on, though, guys, we are going to we're going to be starting with our first show of the week, and that's happening up in 14 North Dania, ran by our good friend Ellie Rodriguez. Guys, we want to also make the announcement this is a once-a-month show now, which I am really looking forward to because Ellie is going to be not only blowing them out, but bringing a super cool concept to every single week.
And it's an open mic, right?
I believe this one is correct.
Yeah. The first one was an open mic, but going forward, it's going to be a different kind of, like you say, like variety show.
She has like features first and then open mic, I believe.
Yeah,
But-
she does. Yes, yeah. So she will.
Yeah.
If it is an open mic structure, there will be a booked show prior, then the open mic. But moving forward, keep an eye out on her social media and 14 North social media so that you can kind of keep up to date with whatever the concept is. So if you make the trip out there and you also know what Monday of the month that
Right.
it is on, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to all the plans that Ellie has. She's given me a few little tidbits about what she's going to be doing, and it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So you definitely want to be out there. Have you guys ever been out to 14 North and done it?
Yeah, I hosted that show a couple times. Shout out to Ellie. That's a great venue. Well, it's next to the Dania Improv,
Right.
so it's got the comedy vibes. But honestly, there's great crowds for crowd work there.
Yeah.
I've worked out a lot of crowd work there.
Well, it's because they know she does a really good job of making sure that not only it's like booked well, but it's actually promoted well.
the whole having
So
features.
so you're not
ads,
like holding an
know.
audience hostage. No, they like
Yeah.
want to be there, and that always makes a huge difference when you go to a
Yeah.
show.
Mhm.
And she's
That's
doing
great.
in, I believe in March, she's doing a Laugh with Ellie and Friends show at the Dania Improv.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these, Dania 14 North shows are kind of preparation for
Yeah,
her to
and to
get-
promote that.
Yeah.
So if any comedians want to be on these shows, like make sure you hit her up, reach out to her. She's very open to that.
That's a great.
And if you
way
get on
to
the 14 North,
Yeah.
exactly, you can get onto one of the book shows as well.
Start with the open mic. You impress them. Maybe you get booked as a feature one day. Maybe. And then, a few years later, you get on the actual show.
Well, nobody
I
gives-
don't know, but you got to
No,
work
dude,
for it.
nobody gives more guest spots than Ellie.
No,
She was one
not
of
at
the
all. She's been one
my
of the
first couple-
nurturing comics. I mean,
Yeah.
she nurtured me. I've been in this game for 5.
No.
I think she's been in this game for 15 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she nurtured me. She gave me my first spot at the Improv. Was Ellie.
Nice.
And yeah.
No,
she's
she'll
great.
give you opportunities. She'll help you like promote your stuff. She'll give you advice. Like I definitely know when I was starting
She's
out, I was like,
also-
I don't know what I'm doing, and she was like, "Sweetheart, you're fine."
Also,
Take a breath.
she's one
Yeah.
of, like talking about form and technicality, and technically speaking, she's one of Florida's greatest crowd
Yeah.
workers.
Yeah.
I frequently book her for my Nothing But Crowd Work show, and she kills all the time. But she's a great person to watch to learn crowd work from.
Yeah,
Really.
I think one of the funniest crowd work interactions that I ever saw at 14 North was Ellie was like talking to some people that were there, and the guy actually replied with he was like, man, we came out here, we thought we were going to the Improv, y'all got us at the Outprov. To this day, I think Ellie still uses that line every once in a while when she's hosting. But like the crowd does give you that energy back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anytime you go,
Miami's
like
a crowd work city.
Yeah.
We're not much of a content city.
Yeah.
but crowd work is good content.
It's the other most important part of our job.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, if you want to learn how to do crowd work, Miami's the city for that, because I'm a Miami-made comedian. So I wanted to do content, and you know, the crowds told me, no, you need to really learn the crowd.
Well, it's because in Miami,
and that way, when I go to other places, people are like, how are you not scared of the crowd? I'm like, how are you scared of the crowd?
Because like Miami, you have to prove to yourself that or to them that they even want to see you.
Yeah.
Like Miami is not like in like.
Yeah, we're also
Fuck no, we're
Latinos who don't know we're
Midwest.
not part of the show. You
Yeah.
know? So if you talk to someone, that's it. They're gonna talk to you all night.
Yeah,
You know? So
they're gonna think,
It's
oh,
part of the
now,
culture,
yeah,
too.
they're like,
It's
now
literally
I'm
the
part of the
culture.
show.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yay, my favorite part, me. I love to
Yeah.
be involved. Thank you. And I think it's funny because I hear other comics that have come through the Improv, like for example, TJ Miller.
Yeah.
He did his last weekend here and he did amazing. He killed, and he did a lot of crowd work. He did a lot of Miami stuff. Like he would open with literally like 10 minutes of straight Miami material that I'm sure he's developed over the last. I mean, he's been to the Improv the last 5 years, and like he's done a weekend at least once at the Miami Improv the last 5 years. So at the end of his set, he mentions, he's like, you know, guys, it's funny because I go everywhere else in the country and my material does well. And then I came here one time and I did terrible. And I talked to a comic who was opening for me from here, and he told me I have to talk about you guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I did. I mentioned this. He's like, no. You have to talk about them the whole time. And then I realized it. And now you guys love my shit, right? Everyone laughed. And he's like, see, like, but he even acknowledged it on stage. And he's like, you know, TJ Miller's been on every TV show, been in the biggest movies,
No, you know what?
done everything,
And
and it doesn't
he
matter.
ended
In
up
Miami, the
it still
crowd is
doesn't
the
matter.
star.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
said it. That's the only. I've seen many people perform in English and in Spanish. Last time I did the Improv, I opened for Led Varela in Spanish.
Yeah.
Who's wonderful. He's one of the maestros of Spanish-speaking comedy, and it's the crowd. He's a crowd worker, and it's the crowds that he said that to me once. You know, I've been working with him for a while, and he always said that to me. In Miami, la gente manda, el pueblo manda.
Yeah.
You know? So which means the crowd is the boss. You can't fight the crowd in Miami.
100%.
And you got to kind of spoil them. They're the stars. You have to talk about them. You got to roast them a little bit.
You have to
know.
make them a part of the show, because if they're not a part of the show, they don't care.
You'll tune out.
They will very much right in front of your face open up their phone and start a conversation.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
No shame.
as a gay comic, they expect you to shade them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone knows the culture now, straights, bis, everyone. So, you know, at a what's, you know, not a particularly gay venue like the Improv, but you guys do a lot of gay shit, right? But,
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's
We
not
do?
known for its gay
Yeah,
shit,
all the
but you
time.
go there and you don't roast the people. And you
He also
don't
said
shade the
gay,
people.
bye. He pointed to you and he said bye. So
There
I
you
was,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I making you guys uncomfortable?
No, but you're right. We have done a bunch of really
No,
great.
you do, and you do bring all the drag queen comics I've gone to see there.
Well, I
But
was
you
gonna
know
say,
what I mean? But
we do
it's a
full on-
predominantly heterosexual,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
place. But
General
even
audience.
there, I've come off the stage, and people are like, you should have shaded me about that. Why didn't you mess with my husband? I wanted a gay guy to mess with my husband. Like, people want that. In
Yeah.
Miami,
Yeah.
You know.
No, 100%. 100%. And you get a lot of that actually also over at our next spot on Tuesday, which is the Villain Theater.
Yes, the
That
wonderful
is,
Villain Theater.
yes, the main home for our two guests of
Yeah.
the show
Where
right
we
now.
met 6
Yeah.
years ago.
It
now.
was a minute, yeah.
We
So-
took that first improv class together, right?
Oh my god, we did. Oh,
We're comedy twins. Like we were born on the same day.
So on Tuesdays,
I'm the
though,
pretty
you guys
one.
have had now running for a really long time, definitely longer than I've been in the comedy game.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, you have the open mic over at
Yes.
Villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's someplace
It's at
that
10
I.
p.m.
Yeah,
Before that, we have our improv stuff that the students do. We're a school. We're a training center.
Mhm.
So you know, our open mic also includes a lot of the kids who are doing the current
And then also-
stand up workshop.
Yeah, no, the show beforehand is our improv night.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of student shows, but we also do a lot of our experimental stuff. So we'll have company members come out and they'll be like, hey, I really want to try and do like a D&D themed show. Before we start
have a month,
before we start doing that on like Saturday nights.
Shout out Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, shout out Dungeons and Dragons.
Michael Cunille and the team.
To go do it all. Or, you know, if there's some other type of themed show that people want to play around with,
Lord
there's
of Laughs,
a form.
Thomas Lamountain.
You start those on the Tuesdays, and then you really like build out that form, you build out the structure, make sure that you have all the kinks moved, and then you move those to our Saturday night shows. And so that's how we're able to get everything through. And that's the same thing with our open mic. Like everyone comes to the open mic, anyone that's been to Villain or gone through our classes comes through to the open mic, you get those knots out. Like sometimes it's not going to work and the audience will let you know. And then you go home, you rewrite it, and then after a while, that's ready for Fridays and Saturday nights when you go and feature on like proper booked ticketed shows.
We have Friday book shows at Villain.
Well, my first whole year of comedy was Tuesdays at Villain.
Yeah, that's
I was there every.
That's where we met, really got to know you.
And it was, I mean, literally I was one of the weekends we had a hurricane that like shut down. We didn't have a show that weekend, and I still showed up that Tuesday. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't get the email. What's going on? You know. And
we're like,
workshopped
go
outside.
home.
I still did my thing. I still went and smoked the joint, you know. No, but one of the things I always liked about it was that, like the class element, the school element that you guys have, and because you have that jam that happens ahead of time, it kind of like loosens everybody up,
of course.
And it gets people
the audience
really
already went through improv, so they're loose and they're ready for content, and you know, one person kind of dominance of the stage.
And you get those people that maybe never would have tried stand up to be like, oh, I'll try it.
It's a theater in a school, so it's a place to go bomb.
Right.
Prepare yourself. Don't come and do, you know, crazy racist shit, which we get a lot, or sexist shit. But, you know, do make an effort. But it's also a place to just test what it's like to be on stage alone.
Yeah.
Well,
trying to be
so
yourself.
I bombed the first 8 times in a row.
Most people do.
Most people do.
8 times
but
in a
then,
row.
You know, everyone there. Look, I'm one of the instructors. I'm actually teaching the course that starts tomorrow, the 5 for 5 stand-up course. Go to villaintheater.com. You can still sign up. But, you know, you have instructors there. You have people who've been in the scene for a long time. When a lot of the comedians we booked from out of town come, if they're in here for the whole week, they're there. So you might get feedback, some really great people.
Yeah.
And that's how you build community. You know, everyone's at the lobby, chilling, talking about what they just did. And everyone's outside smoking a joint, talking about what they did.
And it's very supportive. Like, even if people do have like critiques for you, it's not like, you suck, I hate you, go like F yourself. No, it's like, hey, I love the premise of what you just did. Maybe you could punch it up here or whatever. I think that would really work. And that's honestly...
Or, bro, no need to punch down to those people. Why don't you do this while still talking about the same thing? You know?
And that's one of my favorite parts about doing stuff, like any of the open mics in Miami, is the fact that we have that community where we can have that open communication and dialogue with one another to make sure that like we're actually giving the best to our audiences. Because at the end of the day, if I'm on a mic with someone else that's not doing too great, they're gonna cool down the crowd. But then when I go up, it's gonna be harder for me. So it's better for everyone if we're all doing.
No, and one of the things that I love about Villain too is that you guys do bring out consistently really good crowds that are there to like enjoy, and like the way that the logistics of the room sets it up for being one of the better spots.
So it's not just it's not a bar show. There's no distractions. Bar shows, the star of the food and drink. You know, people are hungry on a weekday. They want to drink. They want to hook up. You know, you're the last thing on their mind.
You have to fight for their attention. You have to be like, hey.
Presenting another starter comedian because it's an open mic. So no, it's really the ideal place for an open mic is a black box theater. And that's what Villain is to Miami.
Heck yeah.
So
moving on though right now to Wednesday, we go from the local scene into the Miami Improv, and we have an out-of-town person coming through and doing a little bit of a different show. We have Sonja Morgan, who is actually one of the Real Housewives of New York. So if you're a fan of the Real Housewives series, or if you're a fan of that Bravo content, you can come out and enjoy a show. She has a meet and greet that's happening prior to the show. I believe tickets are being sold through MiamiImprov.com if you get the VIP.
Today's a very gay show for you because you have me here, the Villain Theater, and this girl. I know her. She's from the Miami, New York Housewives, and she's kind of an icon. She's really kind of funny.
She's one of the OGs. She's been on the show for a long time.
Yeah, she's been there season 1, I believe, with Bethany. And
there you go, with Bethany.
And on the run sheet for this show, it talks about how basically like even if you're not single for this show, everybody's single. So it's going to be a little bit of variety, a lot of crowd interactions.
A lot of outside. There's a lot of
It describes how you know.
There's a lot of pineapple themed decor.
Yeah.
All the specialty drinks are pineapple. That's crazy.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Garnished with extra pineapple.
When I'm her age, I want to look like her, and I want to be organizing swinger parties, swinger comedy shows.
There you go. That's a real goal to have.
Oh.
Moving on though to Thursday, we stay over at the Miami Improv, guys, and we are starting off with the Flava of Love show that's kicking off at 8 p.m. there. This is going to be Flava's second show over at the Miami Improv. Really looking forward to this one. Flava's been coming into the scene recently, doing as many shows as he can. I believe he has a show up in Tampa coming up soon, which is also really dope. But he's been hitting the scene out. You can catch him on social media. Follow him at Flava. He's been putting out really, really fun content every single day. This show is going to be in the theme of like Flava of Love. So I don't know if necessarily there's going to be like live interactive dating game or something like that, but for sure it's going to be a fun night to come out. There's going to be some filming happening as well. He's going to be filming the whole show for it to be produced properly. So if you want to come out, be a part of the taping, be a part of kind of the whole vibe of the evening. It's not on Valentine's Day, so if you want to go out and do something with your girl or your partner on Valentine's Day, by all means you can still do that. This is on Thursday over at the Miami Improv.
Wait,
guys.
so you're saying I have a chance?
Possibly. Yeah. You just got to show up.
I remember that. I remember that show. I've always wanted one of those big clocks.
Oh my god.
But also happening on Thursday, guys, we're moving over to the X-hale Lounge, guys, and we got a little video we're gonna play for you. Our buddy Oscar is producing this really, really, really fun show that is gonna be happening, I believe, once a month. They've been trying to get this going. The lineup, they got Michelle Castro on that lineup. Nery Saenz is also on that lineup. Speaking of crowd work, he's another guy who is a master of crowd work from the Miami scene.
Yeah.
Love Nery, love the lineup that they got putting on. They've had these shows before, and as you can see, you got Jay Moreno on those. There's Oscar. There's Chris Renoir, Carlos Hernandez. So they always put together Kyle Grooms. Fantastic lineups. I mean, if you can see here on screen, it's just really, really fun. And that's going to be also on Thursday. Oh, I forgot. Diane is also going to be doing Walter Macau.
Ooh.
She's going to be in character for that show as well.
Yeah,
so Diane's going to be there doing her thing. Really, really excited for that show. I'm going to try and make it out there as well. I think I have work, so I'm going to be sneaking out there a little early to try and make it. But still, I'm really looking forward to this show. And I honestly can't wait to see what is going on over at the X-hale Lounge, guys. Definitely get out there. It's a fun spot. It's a fun spot. It's really, really cool. It's like in the South Miami-ish area.
Okay.
So it's in those. It's like by you know where Lincoln's beer. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
It's kind of in that same industrial parkish area.
Okay.
And I did a show a long time ago at Lincoln's Beer.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Love that whole area is really kind of bubbling up. I live right next to there in the South
It's a
Miami
new kind of
neighborhood.
arts district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, those warehouses used to all be like, because like I said, I grew up there. So growing up, those were all printing shops, mechanic shops.
100%. Well, when I moved to Miami in 2004, my bestie used to live in Lake Ridge. So she brought me to this South Miami area. And like, I remember going to BT's and Fox's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hitting up
And
all the spots.
even that's closer to like Gables. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? In South Miami, where these shows are happening, like I said, it's only recently now been taken over by people who are running those as event spaces and really blowing it out, because I know like we have the X-hale Lounge, there's Lincoln's, there's a few other spots that they have in that little stretch of places, but there's also a few locations that like I've scouted out that you wouldn't even know are event spaces in that area.
Right.
Like they're kind of tucked in the way or tucked out of the way, and it's really cool to see what's being developed with all of the space that we have here in Miami, because we do have a lot of venues that are underutilized. So having us as comics come in and produce high level shows there, like what you see at X-hale, is just super dope to see, and it's a perfect blueprint for other comics who are coming up in the scene to be like, hey, if I want to start a room, like there has to be a baseline. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, if we're going to be producing these shows and putting all this time and effort into these shows, we want it to be in places like X-hale, places like Lincoln's, places that like Villain, like we just discussed, that are like conducive.
That have the technology, that have
the sound system, the mic, the lights,
The infrastructure.
infrastructure.
You need
100%.
like sometimes like as much fun as it is to do comedy like everywhere and everywhere,
It's just
sometimes if you already have that infrastructure in place, it can just make the night go that much smoother.
Yeah. No, for example, we just recently did a show over at Barry's in the Grove. It was the first show that they had done there.
that's a great
So with Cafecito Comedy, they have their outside space. If you've ever been to Barry's, you know they have the outside bar that used to have the tree in the middle that was like super nice. They've now acquired the space that was directly next to it, which is a closed-in kind of just a restaurant style. And they set up all the tables for us when we came in with little like table lamps, kind of like a comedy club. They moved everything around. They made sure that the sound guy who built the sound system was there running sound. Like having somebody or having a venue that's willing to put all those extra pieces in place is what's going to make it so that us as producers, bring the talent, turn on the mic, and that's all we need.
You can worry about the production part. You can worry about making sure that you have
butts on the seat.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find a venue. It's always very important for the venues to be on the same page and to get the entertainment, value that you need to bring.
Absolutely.
For it to be
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, especially for the future shows that we have happening over at Barry's, just growing and making sure that every single one, and I know you guys have the same mentality, is every single week 1% better. You just keep getting better, and then by the 50th,
you need to constantly be tweaking the mistakes.
And by the 50th time you do something, it's unrecognizable from the last time.
It's the type of thing where you then look back at that first one and you go, oh, weren't we little scalawags? We tried our best. What were we thinking? You look at it, you're like, how embarrassing, when at the time that was the best you could do. Yeah. But that's the only way you grow.
You need to start somewhere. And also every venue and every crowd kind of builds its own little necessities in a way. So you need to be very aware and kind of cater to that.
You need to be able to pivot.
100%. 100%.
And Miami's eclectic enough that you can find a good enough mass of whatever it is you're into.
And
you know what I mean?
It's great, this venue in South Miami, or even Barry's. There's not a lot of competition around you.
Right.
Who's gonna come? The Grove residents,
right?
Because Miami's becoming neighborhood specific.
Yep.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I hit the Brickell shows because I live in Brickell and it's downstairs.
Yeah.
If you book me for Tipsy Flamingo or now the Biscayne Bay Brewery with Vita Faye, I love it because it's 3 blocks away. We're also doing the food court, Julian Henry. Yeah, that's another venue on Tuesdays for comics.
Nice. Are you guys doing that this week?
I'm not because I'm teaching the
comedy.
Yeah, but I've done it the last few Tuesdays. I've been there. It's a food court. So it's tough, but it's a great way.
No, I was gonna say we actually spoke about it. We spoke about it last week with Mark Christopher, who was on the show. He had done it before, and we were saying how it's such a unique venue in terms of you're it's almost like you're this political figure.
Well, it's huge.
You know what I mean? You're on a stage speaking to the subject.
You feel like you're in the Hunger Games giving the entire District 13 a speech. That's how you feel because it's this big building.
When I got on
it has great potential. You've done it.
Well, I was gonna say when I got on there, I felt I think one of the first things I said was it's really bringing out my inner dictator.
I mean, I felt
on the table.
Listen,
I felt like Evita, but I'm gay, so I was like, okay.
I know dictators are trendy right now, but if we could just reel that back in.
I was gonna say, I'm Cuban, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's in my blood. It's not. I can't control that. I'm sorry.
Giving me the Fidel.
Yeah. But moving on though to Friday over at the Miami Improv, guys. Really quickly, we have an amazing headliner coming through, and that's Jeremy Piven, guys. He comes through every single year and blows out the Miami Improv every year. So excited for these shows because Jeremy always brings his own style of comedy. He's got that Ari Gold. He played that persona on Entourage, but he brings a little bit of that character and voice back into his set. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. He's one of those guys that when he comes through, it's worth getting tickets for. It's worth coming out. It's worth making it a night and getting some babysitters for yourselves if that's your case. But he's going to be doing shows all weekend, Friday through Sunday. So you got plenty of opportunities to see him. That's 5 shows. We got 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Remember, the only place that you can get tickets is miamiimprov.com. If you see tickets sold on any other third-party site, those will not be accepted at the door. And we know a show like this will have tickets resold at an upcharge on other websites. So please, even if you look up the show, if Ticketmaster or StubHub or any of those other sites pop up first, do not go there. Please go miamiimprov.com for any of your improv ticketing needs because any other tickets will not be accepted at the door. But this weekend, Jeremy Piven, guys, super fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Art, anything else you want to add for that?
No, I mean, it's one of those shows that a lot of people have been reaching out to me for. He's a big fan favorite. I haven't seen him live, so I'm excited to see him. But definitely don't wait to get your tickets. He's going to sell out. Especially those good nights are going to definitely sell out.
100%.
I used to have a crush on that man when I was younger.
Jeremy Piven?
I mean, I can get it.
That was my high school. Was it Entourage? 15 years ago?
No, he's got
that was my college crush.
He's got mad Zaddy vibes.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
There you go. Yeah. That's actually the first Zaddy ever on Comedy Calendar. Yeah. We can document that.
Really?
That is the first one. Yeah. With a Z. With a Z.
I don't even know what it means, to be honest.
Here.
Clearly. Well, that's why we have you guys on today.
Zaddy alert, Zaddy of the week.
There you go. There you go. Tarek's
You need to build your gay audience, y'all. You need to include us in this calendar.
We'll have Tarek's Zaddy of the week, and then it'll just be your face
it's
and
like
the Zaddy.
who in comedy. Was
There
the
you go,
Zaddy of
there
the
you
week.
go.
Yeah.
So what is a Zaddy? I'm sorry. I
A
don't.
Zaddy's a hot. It's a dilf, really.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
You don't have to have kids. You can still be.
Yeah, it's a dilf
Sure.
that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to have kids.
But it's hot when they
Right.
do have kids because it's like, oh, it works.
yeah, no, because then you're like, oh,
Interesting.
They've already
Interesting.
been yelled at by someone else.
Oh, nice.
They've been trained already.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. They
That's what kids shows.
They're responsible. They have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm just gonna start walking
Yeah.
around like it's
I can definitely
like it's,
not tell his wife about this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
He'll
They have
keep it-
4 kids.
He'll keep it
They have a
discreet.
mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Adam Sandler figured that when on one of his movies, he would just walk around with a wedding ring and it would attract women. Like he wasn't married, but he would just wear the wedding ring, and it was like,
because
you know.
to get married nowadays, it's a thing.
yeah.
you know?
I think he also told women that he was a widow, but that was
That's,
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
that's.
its own.
what's it called? Just Go With It. I think that's the name of the movie. It's Just Go With It.
Yeah.
It was him and the from Friends. What's her name?
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. There
Okay,
you go.
now I know you're
Yeah.
talking. Yeah. They're like besties.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I just always have him as Big
well,
Daddy in my
yeah.
mind.
Oh, Big Daddy.
That's
Big
what I think
Zaddy.
of.
Big
But
Zaddy.
now it'd be Big Zaddy.
There you go. There you
Oh my
go.
God. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dylan and Cole Sprout. Anyway, moving on though to Friday, we got a jam-packed show or night of shows really
Yeah,
over at the Villain Theater.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
one of our craziest nights.
yeah, so we have the Valentine's Day show because Friday is Valentine's Day, guys. So make sure if you don't have any plans, you can come out and watch the amazing show that's happening out there with Kelly Blake hosting. It's going to be like dating games, right? And like a bunch of like interactive stuff with the crowd.
Well, no, it's a live couples game show hosted by the
Ooh,
Kelly
okay.
Blake, great comedian that you've all worked with. Kelly Blake is queer and she's really fun, and the show is gonna have like 3 different couples.
And these
some of
are-
them gay, some of them straight, and then they guess things about each other. Like
Oh,
those whole things,
okay,
you know?
okay, yeah, I like that.
And but like also the vibe is a lot of singles come to the show because you know we're gonna get lit.
We can hook
So,
you up. We can match you guys all together.
I love that.
okay?
Like Villain Tinder.
Villain
Yeah.
Tinder.
So again,
followed
something
by
that-
the
yeah.
villain orgy.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool.
A lot of people have met at Villain.
A lot of
That's
people,
true.
A lot of people have come out of the closet at Villain.
In fact,
so if you're looking to come out of your closet,
We've
please
had
hit us
people. We've
up.
had people
Yeah.
meet, get married, and have a
Kid
kid
at
from
Villain.
Villain.
Really?
We have
Yeah.
a few.
Wow.
Wait, so you guys encourage people to
Yeah.
have kids at
Yes.
Villain?
At Villain.
We have Villain babies.
We are
That's
very
cool.
inclusive. We
That's
like
cool. Do they
gays
get- do-
and the straight?
Do they get a stamp on the birth certificate with the
We-
little
yeah.
Villain logo?
Yeah.
we give
Like a
them-
Cabbage Patch. They have like,
It's on the tag.
it's on the tag. I was gonna say like tramp stamp, but it's a baby. Ew. Sorry, I need to reel it in. Guys, also before I forget, on that Friday, before the dating
yeah.
show,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
our weekly RuPaul's Drag Race viewing party hosted by Liner Baddie. It's the and Aria Celita. It's the doll link up.
Nice.
It's every week, and it's great. It's a comedy show.
It's a huge party every week. So what they do
Yeah.
is we have the drag race going during the commercial breaks. They do commentary, and then after the show ends, we have live drag
Yeah.
performances.
Professional,
right
like the
after.
host
Nice.
and their guests,
Yeah.
and they also have an open stage.
Mhm.
So they have 2 new drag people, drag artists a week, and that's shout out to anyone out there who's trying to do drag or get into drag. Hit up Liner Baddie from the Doll Link Up, and she might get you on your first performance.
Nice.
So what time does the live viewing start?
It starts at 8 p.m.
Okay, and then Kelly's show starts at
10 p.m.
Okay.
So it's right after.
Yeah.
So you can go to that and then kind of
Yeah.
just
So it's
transition
one
right into
big
the
gay
show.
night.
It
It's
is.
not just
Cool.
for gay people. It's very fun for straight people to come see the drag
Right.
show and then just stay for the couples game show. And then there's a full bar and there's-
the
love that.
Villain
Good
Theater
vibes.
doing their part to rip the doors off closets. You know what I
There
mean?
you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually never seen a closet at Villain Theater. Never once. I don't think you guys have.
Lots of shelves. No
Yeah, yeah,
closets.
yeah, yeah.
We just put everything we have just
All
piles.
around.
There's
Nice.
no-
It's all
we
out in
keep
the
that-
open.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah.
should be.
We are
Also-
very transparent.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I would like to call it.
Emphasis
Yeah.
on trans. We love trans. But yeah,
We
we're
do.
trans. Yeah, we're proud to say we've nurtured every letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
There we go.
No.
Yeah.
Um,
The governor would hate us, but that makes.
he's
us
been trying to
happy.
shut us down since
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah,
it's really
I mean, like, to be clear, Villain is straight owned, and most people who go there are still heterosexuals. But it's just it's so gay friendly, and
We're just open. We try to make a space for everyone, so that no matter who you are, no matter what
it's not just for queer people. It's for people who are straight.
And I will say this: over the time that I've been in the comedy scene, you guys have definitely probably done the most of any producer or any venue in terms of putting on queer and LGBTQ shows 100%. And or comedians and artists. Like just saying you have that platform is one thing, but it's true that you guys actually do that and provide that space for these comics.
Also, the thing is, like for example, I teach the stand-up workshop, and it's a feedback workshop. So really, most of the value of the workshop is in the quality of the people sitting down, your colleagues, and the more diverse they are, the better.
Right.
You want people of color; they're telling you can't say that, but you can say this. You want gay people saying that's offensive, don't do that, but that joke has a good premise, do that. You need that.
They'll
you can't live in an echo chamber if you want to be a comedian.
They'll give you the insider tips where they're like, "Hey,
that is funny,
I see what you're trying to do. A little problematic. Here's how to fix it. You're gonna kill." And then you can move forward with that. And
I'll say on the flip side too, where I've seen that villain where someone made a joke and then someone had like an issue with it, and then one of you guys were like, "No, actually, you misunderstood the joke. The joke wasn't about that at all. It was about this." And the person's like, "Oh shit. Oh, I see it now." You know what I mean? Where like that's helpful as well, because sometimes it's like it happened to me, not a villain, but one time I made a joke about basically investing all my money into guns, and a lady stood up and walked out of my set. And afterwards, I saw her outside. I'm like, "What happened?" And she's like, "The word guns. As soon as you said it, I can't hear you." So that's all it was. It wasn't a joke about guns. I wasn't encouraging people to have guns.
We trigger a lot in people. Words are triggers.
Which is
but having that chance to talk about it afterwards helps.
I have to say that Miami's a young city for comedy in terms of the audience doesn't get the protocol.
No.
And the last year I did a lot of comedy in New York. I was in London for a long time, and people know how to just watch comedy and maybe even get offended, a little triggered, but just keep moving on and not really judging the performer.
You go to
based on one
Chicago,
joke,
they're all there. They'll listen to it. They might not like everything, but they'll still
be there.
just be there. But Miami, if someone doesn't like it, they'll
walk out
immediately.
or they'll like log out of the show, even if they're still present. They're not present.
It is good for feedback, though, because then you actually know what does and does not work. They're not just politely sitting there in front of you.
Oh, of course. Or they're not like talking through your set to the point where you're like, "Oh, I could be Chris Rock right now." And like, I would literally have to grab people by the head, point them in the direction and be like, "Shh, be quiet, listen," for them to even get any joke. Like Dave Chappelle could walk into certain rooms on certain nights where maybe they'll get 2 or 3 laughs.
It'll be an uphill battle.
Yeah,
I
it'd still be an uphill battle.
I've seen quite a few outside comedians, huge comedians from LA, Hollywood comedians, come in Miami and kind of bomb because they do, they don't get that offense aspect of that Florida, and also the crowd wet aspect. Talk about me. That is really a Latino thing. I have to say. As a Latino, I think that's what it is. But you know what I mean. That it's quite a particular place to do comedy.
Well, it's diverse. Like it's the same as really everywhere. Every scene, every area has its own cultural norms, cultural mores, and all that other stuff. And so you've got to be able to match that. You've got to be able to, like, especially if you're a nationally touring comic, you've got to be able to pivot and anticipate
what's going to be
a little bit what's going to happen, what's going to work. You can't just paint yourself into a corner and then be upset when people don't like the one thing you're giving.
Also, I have to say, Miami gives liberal vibes, but it's not.
No.
So people are like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna do my pro-trans, sexy gay joke here. People are gonna love it because people are sexy and they love gay people." And then you do it, and then you're like, "Oh."
I'm in Hialeah. You're like, I'm in Hialeah.
I mean, I have to say, it happens a lot, even at Village. It happens a lot in Miami with Trump jokes. A lot of comedians come outside. They come from very democratic places. And like, "You guys are purple, right? You guys are for color. You guys are too gay to be Republican." And I'm like,
and everyone's
like, all the gays I know are Republicans.
Yeah. There's plenty.
You can't.
Because it's the reality of it is, and it's what happens here. I've worked in politics in South Florida. Like, I've worked on congressional campaigns, and like when I was working in politics, we had a Democratic candidate. The opponent was a Latin woman, and she just painted her. The candidate I was working for, she's like, "Oh, she's a socialist. Like, she's a socialist. You guys here in Miami, you know about socialism, right? You guys you feel that? Yeah, you can't vote for this person." And from people having their PTSD coming from these Latin countries,
Cuba and Venezuela, todos.
Yeah, it's widespread across the Latin cultures that have now relocated here to America, to Miami.
Vote for the most conservative,
right? Yeah.
Whether or not that actually
whether or not that's the case
is going to help your life.
No, it's crazy because like the Venezuelans.
It's really PTSD. It's really
because
trauma. It's really based in trauma.
And it's also I think it's also just the people running the campaigns being really, really good at knowing the trigger words to use. Because a lot of people I've noticed, like around everywhere, most people agree on most things.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like across the spectrums, most people have the same ideas and whatever to go forward. It's just when you start using like certain politicized words that like get people going, then all of a sudden you can, people start wanting to fight with one another. But if you just use like more plain normal language, most of the time everyone agrees.
And I think also as comics, people don't use those triggering terms as a tool enough. Like there's a way to like, you can go into a set and you go, okay, I know this crowd and I know if I say, like if you do it the right way, you can go, if I say this, I can get them leaning this way, which can set up a joke to go that way.
But you
to
need
misdirect or to like, you could use that knowing where their emotional state will be as a point for as a comic to be like, I can know where they're going to be out in their head and then I can do something from there. But if you're just throwing it out to get them upset, it's not going to work. You're not like.
But also we are in a time politically where people think that they need to be upset if anything in the media or in art. No, people are. You know, if we see the art out there commercially, it's very non-threatening art.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
if you
very
look at pop
sanitized.
music, even 20 years ago, it was crazy what the themes people could bring up, and people would get angry, but it's what it is, you know?
People
but
would get angry and move on. Now people get angry
and
they do a bunch of stuff. And that is why a lot of our more mainstream art, it's very sanitized. It's very corporate. It's very like, hey, we've gotten this through 7 focus groups to make sure that everyone's okay with it.
Right.
And while I do think while that's fine and dandy and that's totally wonderful, there is also room for like disagreement. And if you don't like something,
I don't think
just
it's wonderful.
on.
I think we do need provocative art to inspire activism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if we don't, like if you don't get angry from a movie showing you the truth about a political situation or from a comic reminding you about, you know, which I do a lot. I talk about all the genocide going on in the world.
Sure.
If you know, you know. But you know what I mean? So people, you know, get upset at me, but also they thank me a lot. They're like, thank you. You're right. That is kind of crazy.
But you also frame these things in a really good way. You're smart about it. You're not just standing up and being like, profane thing.
No. It has to be artistic. It has to, and
exactly.
And stand-up comedy has to be funny.
You have.
You know, there is a political trend now we're in comedy that I hate, which is everyone's a lecturer.
Yeah.
And they go on a long political rants. But I was like, where are the jokes? Tell us your jokes.
So let me ask you this.
Well, I've also seen it before stated as, and this isn't an original thought from
I'm sorry,
me,
do we need to finish
but comedy,
the calendar? Are we taking
you're
over?
good. No, you're good.
Just before we continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks for cutting me off and asking that question.
I just wanted to make sure.
So
I don't know if you were like tapping your pen for something.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But basically, comedy, it's what you can get away with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you say this thing and it doesn't work for the crowd, then that's on you as a comedian to make it better. Like you were saying before, it's on you to be able to go, hey, if I say this, they're going to feel a certain way. So if they're going to feel that certain way, I need to know about it. I need to take that into consideration and write the rest of my material so that if I want to lead them in another place or another direction.
Or lead them to laughs.
Exactly. That would be the direction.
Yeah.
That way we're actually getting them there, that we're not just...
And I think that's where people lose
talking.
That's where people lose their sense or their sense of direction in that sense, where people like you said, it's just for shock value. And at the end of the day, if that's your prerogative, it's like cool, but like that might be better.
But it's not stand up anymore.
I was gonna say that might be what I was gonna say is that might be better suited for you to just like film yourself in your room and do like
become one of those angry, be like Hasanabi, who's an icon and I love, but like be a political commentator if you want to be that. But
there's an avenue for that, getting on stage and directly addressing people, especially when. And I think this is another thing that a lot of comics don't take into account, and it's something that you guys were talking about in terms of how you do your villain shows and how you structure them. Is like, if you're gonna go up there with that intention, you're going up literally to tank the room on purpose.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you have to also be aware of your space within this show and how it affects the next 6 comics who are gonna be coming up, because you do that, and then the next comic comes up. If you leave the room kind of with a like a
well,
suck
that's
out
something
of the
where
room?
that's something I have to say about the scene here is very kind. Where they're like, okay, you got your 5 minutes at an open mic, and you're bombing. They don't give you the light; they give you the 5 freaking minutes, right? We do it at Villain. We do it everywhere. It's part of the culture. Not in
Other
New York.
cities,
No.
they will.
Not in
If
London.
you start,
Let me tell you,
you start
if you start bombing,
they're like,
you're gonna ruin the show for everyone, and you get it, and you
suck
reel
it
it
up?
in, and you suck it up. I'm like, I fucked up. Let's get out.
Yeah.
But you know what? The next time you know, and if you're a good enough comic, they're gonna call you back.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been, through that situation, because most comics who are good will use that to get
it's
better.
a learning
I was gonna say,
experience.
sometimes they also want to see how you can adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
or you see the light and you are able to bring it up in 20 seconds to where they're like, okay, you don't get the light
Yeah.
anymore. They let you
right.
finish. No, you're a pro now. You know.
Right.
What I was gonna say earlier, I didn't want to interrupt. Is like with all these kind of considerations, what kind of crazy people would actually want to have a comedy festival in this city?
Oh,
Clearly, that's me and my crazy little butt. Yeah. Well, we haven't had one in a really long time. Like, there was one a while ago. There was the South Beach Comedy Festival, but that hasn't been a thing in a really long time. So I got the crazy idea to start the Vice City Comedy Festival here in Miami, Florida, so that we can give our local comics a platform on a national level, but then also bring people from across the U.S. and Canada down to Miami to see what we have going on.
That's awesome.
Because as we've already stated, we are a pretty young scene. Like, we're not necessarily like, there's not a bunch of like 50-year-old clubs that have been doing this forever with all these people. So if we want to see something, we have to make it ourselves.
So just for the audience real quick, because I kind of introduced it in a weird way.
The flyer's up on the screen underneath.
Okay, perfect.
So Vice City Comedy Fest, February 20th to 22nd. Founder, Allison McCoin. I'm her co-producer. And it's going to be a great night. And we're really showcasing the scene. Yeah. So there's satellite shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday in all the venues that we know, like Gramps.
We've done our very best to try and get as many producers and as many hosts and venues involved as possible, because we don't want to make this a thing where we're just, hey, here's like me and my 3 friends. No, I want to be able to show off the city that I live in, because
the scene,
and the scene, because I've done other festivals in other places, and a lot of people, like, when I was up in Vermont in December, a lot of people, they really don't know a lot of other Florida comics because we are so far down here. And I want to change that. I want to make it so that we all know people from around the country, and that they know us.
One thing I say that I love, like when I saw the flyers start coming out, one is all the people you guys got on the show, because it was kind of like a little bit of a blind audition. People were auditioning. They didn't know who was actually running the show. So it's cool to see that a lot of the people that I consider pretty good talent in Miami got selected to be on there.
Yeah.
And you guys pretty much got all the venues that we shout out every single week, like all the local spots. They're all involved with every showrunner in Miami, basically. And it's one of the things we always like talk about. Like, man, I wish somebody would get all the showrunners together and to do a thing. It'll be so dope. And you guys did it. You guys really did it.
And this is going to be our first year to establish it and prove ourselves. We got 4 great headliners.
Yeah.
That was very important to us, to get headliners who were going to be, who reflect Miami. So the main headliner is Jay Catapreta, and she's from LA, and she's
Brazilian born. She does comedy in New York, LA. I want to say this weekend she's headlining at the Jimmy Kimmel Club
in Vegas.
In Vegas,
yeah,
cool.
And then she's going to be coming straight to Miami the next week to headline for us. So every day of the festival, it's the 20th through the 22nd, we have community showcases throughout Miami. So Thursday, we're starting off at Gramps, and then we're going to be at Smugglers and Arlo Hotel. And then we're going to close out that night at Villain Theater with Carlos Hernandez. Wow. And then a 1-minute stand-up battle with all of these comics that we have coming from across the...
Hosted by Michael Cunio.
Yep.
Cool.
And these are 24 comics that are coming from across the U.S. and Canada. They're all flying down here to be a part of the festival. And then on Friday, we are starting out at the Sandbox on Miami Beach. And then we're going to...
Cottonwood.
Shout out Cottonwood. And then we're going to be at Magic 13 and Thank You Miami.
Nice.
Magic 13 is with Daniela Delfino, and Thank You Miami is with Manny Garavito.
Right.
And then we're going to close out that night with Chris Renoir
Nice.
At the Villain Theater again.
Hosted by Aldi.
All our main nights,
Nice.
all the headliners are at the Villain Theater.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
And then after that, we're going to have Lord of Laughs hosted by Thomas LaMountain. And then on Saturday, we're starting off the day at the Z Ocean Hotel. And then we're going to have shows at Biscayne Bay Brewery. And then we're going to have with Lita Faye. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to have our show with Jade Catapreta, hosted by the one and only Tarek Turjman.
Yeah.
So are there tickets?
And then,
or?
Yeah.
and then after that, there's a show with
Paula Barros.
Paula Barros,
Oh,
Polly
that's right, that's
Collarson
right.
Oh,
that
nice.
I'm hosting.
Love that.
The
And-
voiceover podcast Miami legend. And she's also producing the Arlo night.
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of our showcases throughout Miami, those ones are all free to get into. We want everyone to come out, meet the comics, see them, follow them on
Buy
Instagram.
drinks and food from the venue.
Exactly.
Do your thing.
Give-
Support the festival so we can do it next year.
And then all of our big headliner shows at Villain, those are ticketed events.
Yeah.
Cool.
You
And
can go to Vice City Comedy Fest to check out all of the venues and buy tickets. You can also go to villaintheater.com to see the schedule there. That's going to be at Villain. And most of the venues on their websites are going to have the event.
Let me shout
Yes,
it out.
we've
Well,
been-
I've seen a lot of people already posting a lot of different venues.
But the best
and-
place to have it all in one place is our website, Vice City Comedy Fest, where Allison has done a lot of hard work designing. She's the graphic designer. I have no skills.
I'm the
So
graphic
she's been
designer,
doing
the
all the
scheduler,
design
the
for her.
PR.
How much are tickets? If I can?
They're $25 to $35.
Yeah.
It's very reasonable. We have regular tickets and VIP. Our VIP tickets come with a free drink and guaranteed table seating.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we have something for everyone. Our goal is to, again, make this something for the Miami community. We want this to be something that can bring everyone in, to highlight everyone, and also to get, every local Miamian an opportunity to see
Yeah.
something.
And
You might
next-
not be able to
yeah.
come out super late, so we have some shows at 6.
If you guys would like, next week we can do, if you want to give away 2 tickets or something, we can do a free giveaway here on the show. We'll shout it out, and
love
then
to do
that.
whoever
Absolutely.
replays the clips, and then we'll decide that week. And
Yeah.
Definitely. We can give out 2 tickets for one of the shows at Villain.
Yeah.
And that would be great. Also, we want more local comics to submit to the festival next year.
It's
because
awesome that we had
that's
people
really-
from
yes,
everywhere.
it's awesome they have people from everywhere,
But
we'd love to have.
we would
that.
love to
Yeah.
be able to also give a platform to Miami comics.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because it is, as someone that's gone and done festivals are a lot to go do. You got to travel, you got to do all that stuff. And so if we can bring something here that makes it more attainable to the rest of us, to give everyone a stepping stone to then be like, hey, I've been in this festival, for when you go to send your tape out other places and apply to other festivals, that you have something else on your resume.
Yeah.
And that's also why we're trying to make this really good, really right now, so that we also can build up.
Yeah.
The goal for this is to build it every single year. Like, I grew up, I'm from Michigan, so I watched CBC growing up, which means that I watched the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival every year.
Yeah.
Like, if we could start, like, that's my goal.
Cool.
Obviously, it's a lofty one and will take a second.
But you gotta shoot.
But
for
you
the
have to
stars.
start somewhere.
Yeah, shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
And if you're doing 3 days this year, I mean, if it goes well,
Eventually, it
grows,
could become a week.
a whole week. And there's enough comedians down here. There's enough venues down here. There's enough demand down here that I think it can make sense.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah, we'd love to have something like Fringe in a way.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, a week like Miami Music Week, but Miami Comedy Week.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
Art Basel, like, take
Yeah.
over.
And to add to what you're saying, a lot of the last couple of guests that we had, like Chris Renoir, Mark Christopher, even Lewis, I think a little mentioned that doing those festival gigs, it's like a level up. Like, you get so much
100%.
from networking, the experience you
And
get, the size of
giving
the
our
crowd.
comedians,
Yeah.
that prestige. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very proud to have Jade as part of it because she's a Brazilian. She's like us. She's an immigrant. She's queer, so that's great. A queer woman headlining, a queer Latina woman headlining a festival is important to me.
You had me at Brazilian.
Yeah, exactly. No, but also to see like Paula Barros is someone who has nurtured me. I know her since I started in comedy. She's got a great podcast. I forget her name, you guys. It's a crime podcast. It's incredible. But she does all the voiceovers from English to Spanish for like South Park and a lot of the comedy animation stuff. So she's a freaking comedy legend.
We got-
and she's here and she's just our buddy. And I'm like, to see her on that poster, I'm like, girl,
No,
you
we
deserve-
got-
Let's do
it's we want to show. We really want to show off.
We're
our
very
Miami,
we're very lucky in Miami to have such great national talent that's also local.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing that we were able to get Carlos Hernandez. You know what I mean? Like he's been out there doing things. Chris Benoit, he just had a movie. You know what I mean? Like we're very, very privileged to be able to have.
He's very young. And it's important to also give a voice to Haitian artists because there's so many great Haitian comedians. Shout out to Phil Ismay, and so many. Victoria Haig, my Haitian.
This past week we had I'm completely blanking her name, but we had a big Haitian comedian come through. Her tour was called Surviving Immigrant Parents. I can't remember her name right now. I'm completely blanking.
But you're right.
But it was great. It was I had never seen.
Was it Elizabeth Banks who came through?
No, Elizabeth.
Weekend? No, that was this last weekend.
No, it was Elizabeth something. I can't remember.
Wasn't Elizabeth Banks in the Hunger Games?
Could have been.
Isn't that a white lady?
I think we had Ben Banks.
Ben Banks,
and Elizabeth, and I forget her last name, but I'm mixing up two acts that we had at the
end.
I do that sometimes
was there.
too. Yeah.
A lot of the local, like Nigel Got Jokes was there.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys came out. Brunat, yeah. It was really, really good. Really good show. Yeah. So I agree with you. I mean, having that, because like I'm Brazilian, so it's like one of those small Latin communities that don't get represented. But like when they do, I feel so good. Same thing with like Haitians. A lot of times because they're not Latin exactly. They're
Caribbean.
Right.
That's what Miami is. It's half Caribbean, half Latino, and some of it kind of intersects.
Yeah. And she sold out the Improv, so it goes to show you that like a Haitian comedian can market and pull.
No, and the level of Haitian talent that I've seen just pass through Villain. And
oh my God! Okay, so we've got Phil, we've got Chris, we've got Hennessy, we've got Victoria,
and not just Haitian. Let's mention all the Caribbean. Cindy Ann Buisson, who's world class comedian,
so good,
world class. Miami, like one of Florida's finest, if not.
And also such a sweetie. I love her so much.
So shout out to Cindy, who we wanted at the festival, but she's so busy.
She's going to be in Trinidad. Yeah. She's going to be in Trinidad.
So, and and Brian G, Jamaican American, and he's one of the best crowd workers in Miami too, and so like one of the best hosting.
I think he's actually taking over Tipsy's on Sundays.
He's running Tipsy's now.
Shut the front door. Okay.
Yeah. If you need someone to host the shit out of a show, sorry to use that word.
That's Brian.
That's Brian G. If you need. Book Brian G to host. No, honestly, he's such a great MC, host, comedian, which is maybe one of the hardest things in comedy is host a show and keep it all together,
As far as format for the festival, is there any specific? I mean, obviously headliners are going to get.
Well, people submitted a 5 to 7 minute set.
Yeah, so
which they got judged on and scored on by a selected.
We had judges. We had judges from across the country, LA and New York.
Send your hate mail elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to get yelled at. I don't.
Also, we wanted the standards to be really high.
I wanted the standards to be high. So every single tape that got submitted got judged by 4 judges and got scores and got comments on it.
Professional stand-up comedians who've been in the game for 10 years or more.
Yeah,
you would know them, but we're not going to name them. Yeah.
Literally, we're not going to name them.
No, that's how it goes.
But people that like run other festivals as well helped me out.
Send your hate mail to Allison McCoin.
Yeah.
I mean, you can send me all the hate mail you want. I will take I want the attention, okay? Whatever you want to give me, I'll take it right now. Like, I'll be happy I'm getting paper mail that's not a bill.
Nice.
So going back to the format, I guess most comedians are going to be performing this set, this one set throughout the festival in different venues.
Well,
and that's their choice too.
Every comic that's coming through is going to get about 4 to 5 chances to perform throughout the 3 days. That was something I was really passionate about because just when you're in comic circles, sometimes you hear people being like, I came all this way.
And I didn't really get
I didn't even do something one of the days. I wanted to make sure that if people are coming out to go do comedy, they're gonna go do comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to then also meet all of the Miami people as well. So that way also later they're gonna go home to wherever they're from, because we got people from Arizona, Louisiana, Colorado, LA, New York,
the gospel
everywhere.
Canada.
That people can go, Toronto,
Toronto specifically,
that then people can then go back to where they are, and then if they know someone that's coming to Miami, they've got a whole Rolodex of producers that they can give people.
It's a great opportunity. Even if you're not booked as a Miami comic, please come out to all the free showcases and network.
Yeah.
You're going to be meeting some of the top comedians from wherever they're coming, so don't,
if you're a South Florida comedian and you're not there, then where are you? What are you doing?
Come meet us.
You guys are taking over all the spots.
I was about to be like, because we've also taken over all the shows.
You're gonna at the spot, so you might as well
come support.
Sorry about that.
Take a picture, help us post. Tag us. Follow us on our Vice City Comedy Fest Facebook and Instagram page.
Nice.
Like I said, go to the website to see all the schedules and stuff. I want to add that the greatest thing that comedy has given me is community wherever I go.
Exactly.
Last year, like, it makes, it brings a tear to my eye to think how many friends I made in New York, in London last year. I was in my native Guatemala doing comedy. Hago comedia en español también. So everywhere I go, I had buddies that I could just text, and they met me for lunch and took me around, and shout out to all those people in London.
No, it's crazy for all the things
but it's what an advantage, what a beautiful thing to become an artist. Fame and money are honestly secondary to just having that connection with people around the world.
And it's crazy because you see all like the tabloid headline stuff where it's like, oh, this person has a beef or whatever else, and then you actually get out there and you do stuff and you realize that's clearly manufactured. Because whenever I've gone to a festival, whenever I've gone out to another city and done stand-up, I have immediately been welcomed with open arms. Cool. Like, because at the end of the day, we're all artists, and being an artist is scary and it is hard. You are putting out your soul, and and when other people who are also doing that see you trying, they want to support you, because whenever I see another comic go out there, I see a little bit of myself in that.
100%.
Because you're out there, you're doing something hard.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Especially when you go to another place. Yeah. But the most beautiful part of comedy is doing it everywhere.
Yeah.
And figuring yourself out.
Imagine how bad Louis C.K. must be feeling coming down here to Miami. Give him a chance.
We're a feminist show.
Just give him a chance. Everyone makes mistakes.
It's all right. I don't think they'll be able to give him a chance.
Like, honestly,
only because he's already sold out.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need the chance. Doesn't seem like he really
has a career. He's fine.
He's selling out. He's selling out shows.
I'm just saying it could have been a misunderstanding, guys. Is all I'm saying.
Come support a Brazilian woman.
Yeah, a queer
Come
woman.
support this magnificent lady who is Allison McCoin and came up with this.
He will be in Miami if he wanted to do a guest set on one of your shows.
I don't think it would work.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. So, Louis, don't reach out.
Unless you want me to go to your hotel.
It just goes against everything we just said.
I tried to catch you on that.
We don't need him. Honestly, he doesn't need us, and we don't need him. He also doesn't reflect Miami in any way.
No. He just reflects.
Besides anything, he's not from Miami. He doesn't reflect Miami. He is Mexican, but he's pretty white.
He is Mexican?
Is he Mexican?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a white
Very
Mexican,
cool.
yeah.
Damn.
No, I had a roommate in college that exact same coloring. Yeah, just
he can go.
Gingers are everywhere.
There's no Mexicans here. No,
I don't know.
We love Mexicans.
Gingers infiltrate everything.
That is true.
There's something about a ginger Latino though that makes them kind of.
You're like a lesser Latino. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not saying. You just gotta keep an eye out for them. I dated a ginger Cuban.
You gotta make sure they wear their sunscreen. That's really the thing. Yeah, when you go on the family vacation,
you can't trust them.
You get a ginger. You dunk them in the SPF.
Shady.
As a day walker myself,
well, not shady.
You gotta do it.
That's why they're wearing sunscreen.
Well, I think it's vampires and gingers have no soul, right? That's what
I think.
It's every freckle we get, it's from a different soul that
you've stolen. Mm-hmm. I love that. Crab people. Anyway, if you've ever seen South Park, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyway, definitely, guys. As we close out the show, the one thing that I wanted to just kind of get a feel for you guys on is, you've kind of touched base on it, but what is your goal for this year's show? Like, what at the end of the festival, show is the wrong term, I guess. At the end of the festival, what is success for you guys? And then what would be one of your main goals that you're shooting for next year's festival that you weren't able to achieve this year?
I'm going to go real quick because I want her to close it out. But the main goal is to do it first and show each other that we can do this together. The media, you guys, the venues, the producers, the comedians who came over. It's possible. And then take that to sponsors and people who can give us more money. We'll bring bigger headliners, bigger shows, bigger venues. We can do shows at the Olympia. We can do shows at the Tower Theater in Miami, historic venues, if that's a thing, Right. I mean, honestly, the options are endless. But the first one is to prove it to people. Because the most important is the solidarity in the community to make this happen. Because to do this, we need to all be friends and on the same page, because we're going to need help, and we're going to need, the local hosts to pick it up, and we're going to need local producers to help us out, do whatever we need to do. So I think we're going to prove it, and I think it's going to be, the first of many years to come.
Yeah.
Love that.
No, and exactly what Tarek was saying. Like, this first year, it's proof of concept. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I had this idea. I went to one festival and decided I can do this.
Me too. Because she brought the idea to me after you went to the Vermont, and I just been at Fringe in Scotland. So I was like, bro, Miami's so cute. We could have the same thing with Fringe.
So the big goal, I will find this a success. If everyone that comes out is able to get their time, if we can meet one another and create a welcoming environment for comics from across the U.S. And then what I would like to move forward in the future is, again, making it bigger, being able to get some more of the logistical footwork in there so that maybe we do have room for more comics. This year it's only 24. We could make, like, a lot of festivals have 50.
Right.
You know what I mean? Making sure that we have the venues, the rooms, the bandwidth to grow this. I would really love for this to be something like Art Basel, where there's a lot of different satellite events everywhere, and that weekend everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
I want this to be something that really puts Miami on the map for comedy.
And people fly out to Miami for its music, for its art, fly out for the comedy. Come see what Miami has to offer.
Why wouldn't you? You come to see any other show, come to giggle.
Yeah.
Also,
it'd be nice to break even, so please buy a ticket. No, honestly, please buy a ticket or go support the showcases, the satellite showcases if you...
Because we are also a fiscally sponsored project by the Center for Social Change, which means that we are a nonprofit. So this isn't a money grab.
No,
we are
it's just to make the event happen,
trying to grow the comedy community in Miami.
That. No, I love that. And I think you guys 100% have the right idea, mentality. I've thought about why Miami doesn't have, a festival or something, because I knew we had it in the past. So seeing you guys kind of take on that burden and be able to run it, hats off to you guys, because we need more producers that are pushing themselves to do better things. Yeah. Things outside of your comfort zone, things outside of what the norm is.
Yeah.
Here. So,
and I honestly thank you guys for not only having us today, but for doing this
growing
podcast.
We
needed a podcast kind of telling us what was going on.
You're giving us all these accolades for growing a festival. You guys have grown a podcast that not only, because this isn't just you guys talking about, like, oh my God, what did you do this weekend? No, you guys are actually talking about what's going on. You guys are lifting up other artists and performers with the platform that you have, and that's very commendable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a very wonderful thing that really only benefits the community.
Yeah.
And so, if you're going to give us accolades, I'm going to give you them back.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because this is a really awesome...
It's why we do it. I mean, literally, when we started doing this, that was the idea. Is we can obviously get on the camera and start talking about our weekends or whatever, or we can do something that serves other people and multiplies what we're doing. Because we have being at the Improv every weekend, we have a pretty cool vantage point to see some pretty 100%. Good comedy, but there's a lot we miss, right? Yeah. So then we get these other points of views, which really can show, look, there's literally something for everybody. No matter, you can feel really unique or oh, there's no one out there like me. But you can come out to these venues. Like, this festival is a good opportunity. You'll see all the venues. You see all the comedians.
All the scenes, because you'll see the touristy Miami Beach scene. You'll see the more local Little Haiti improv scene. And then you'll see the Wynwood scene, which is a younger kind of tourist.
I guarantee
no matter what, there will probably be a show by you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you live in any part of Miami, if you live in anywhere,
it's mostly east.
No,
the I-95.
No, but it's spread.
But next year we'd love to spread it out to the west side, because there's a lot of west shows.
And there's and there's a lot of opportunity, like you said, just for not just growth, but also enhancement in terms of making sure that all these shows are done like we've spoken about at these amazing venues, at these great with good nights, good times, good lineups. That's what we need. That's what we need.
For example, just I guess finish on one more thing. All these comics who are going to come here, or people who came to the shows, if they're going to get into comedy, they're like, I've been at the Villain, I've been at Thank You Miami, I've been at Gramps, I know where these venues are. It's you're less shy about it. You're
familiar with it.
You're familiar with it, so you're more likely to do it.
They're gonna also come back to wherever they're from. They're gonna go back to their scenes. They're gonna go back to their local spots and be like, oh my God, did you know Miami had I did all these shows booked through the festival, but
it's like, have you played it? I played at Villain, Thank You Miami, and 2 more venues. You did all that in 3 days, in 4 days,
and then you can. But then that person can also go yeah, we performed at all these venues, and you know, all these venues are weekly shows.
Yeah.
Like all, like every venue that I went to, I came to find
most
out.
likely, if you come back to Miami,
It doesn't have to be for the festival.
Yeah.
You're gonna perform at the same
Just
venue.
come out to Miami, look at what they've curated.
Yeah.
It's a good showcase of like, and the spots that you said, they're spots that are like that. It's the gambit of Miami. So you get a little bit of everything.
And eventually, we want to make it a place where talent agents come.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
that is also a
if
major
you
goal.
have something for comedians, like if you're a video reels company, if you're
you could have a
you're
headliner.
gonna have some of the top comedians in one place. It's a great opportunity for a lot of people.
You can
to
even
come
have
to these
headliners
events.
come through and use this festival as an opportunity to film really high quality content. Like if they're headlining, they can film a mini special at the festival. You know what I mean? Like the special is just that one shot of the festival. I think
Absolutely.
there's a lot of amazing opportunities like that. That's cool.
Yeah, honestly. And shout out to Miami, our city, because honestly, it was easy to sell this fest just because people come to this
We're like,
place,
hey,
you know?
it's going to be in February. You live in Boston. You want to go to the beach?
Yeah.
Like,
and do a venue, you know.
you
so
live-
honestly, you
How's
know,
Canada right now?
yeah. I
Like-
heard it's chilly up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Do you want to come
People-
hang
all our
out?
New Yorker
I
friends
hear
are so
you guys
excited,
may be the 51st state, so you want to come and start enjoying the lower 50.
If you want to start meeting your fellow patriots, Miami's a great
your
one.
future
A great way to
neighbors.
start. So it's honestly a pleasure to be planning a place.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful place. Miami's been my home for 20 years, so. I don't know. It's
We're just excited.
We're just
Yes.
so freaking
We're
excited.
excited.
Well,
it's the first
excited.
year, and we're just
And
whatever
it's gonna
happens.
be great because
it's
I'm
gonna be
already
awesome.
feeling everyone's willing to do their part,
Yeah.
and the community.
Honestly, that brings like a little tear to my eye. Like
shout
how
out to all the
everyone-
producers we're working with. We're really doing it.
And
And shout out to Villain Theater, who's the main
Yes.
venue and has a lot of pressure. So thank you, Peter and Jan. We love you guys.
So I'll say, first off, thank you for doing this, for doing the festival. We all say we needed one. You guys are doing all the hard work. It's already happening. It's going to be happening in a couple of days now. But two, also thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for giving us a chance to shout it out. We want to be super in tune
Thanks for
with the
producing
stuff
such a
going
quality
on.
show.
Thank you. And definitely, and obviously we're a little bit close to the show this year, but next year, if you guys do the festival again, as we will do it again. We can even plan like some of the headliners if they're going to be in town a couple of weeks, or some of the people that are going to be, we'll have them in talking about what happened last year and do like a real big media wind up towards next year's show.
We can do a
100%.
wind up towards the submission deadline.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because-
well, definitely.
We
yes.
hope to have
in the
our
future.
headliner picked out sooner, or headliners,
Cool.
because that really pushes
Locks it.
Yeah.
the sale of the comedy of the
No, and the headliner might bring a few other people.
Yeah.
Like they'll let people know, hey, I'm going to be here. Submit. Like you can, we'll make it a time. But yeah, no, I wanted to again also thank you guys for coming on to the show and kind of just giving us, a lens into what it really takes to put on a festival and to put on a really wide scale comedy event, because that's really what it is. It's a comedy event. It's not a show. It's not, it's not an open mic. It's none of that. It's a different scale, and I really do commend you guys for what you're doing and the hard work that not only you've done, but the hard work that's to come. Because I know you guys are prepared for that as well. Similar to us, like we know that doing this show is an undertaking every single week. It's waking up, making sure that on Monday we're here, we're in the studio. Making sure that Rachel, our amazing producer behind the camera,
Go Rachel!
Yeah.
but making sure that
when will it end?
but making sure that she's in place and is a part of our thought process is something that we know how difficult it is, and we can only imagine on the scale that you guys are working in how difficult it can be. So definitely hats off. Congratulations also, guys, on putting together really an amazing event, because even though it hasn't happened yet, just the infrastructure that you've put together to this point is super impressive to anybody. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think all the Miami comics, if you're from open micer to showrunner, and everyone in between, if you come and you watch just the shows that not only they're producing, but you listen to this show, it's going to be a crash course on how to do things maybe a little bit differently, maybe in a way that you didn't see before. So anybody out there who's a part of this comedy scene, I'm definitely going to be sending them this interview, and I'm going to be telling everybody that they should check it out for sure. But again, thank you guys so much. This has been one of my favorite episodes here on the Comedy Calendar,
One
guys.
of my favorite podcast sessions I've done.
No, this is fun.
Thank you. As we say every single week, guys, if you want to stay posted with everything else that's happening in South Florida comedy, even what we didn't touch today, you can always check out the Miami South Florida comedy spreadsheet that we have linked in the description of this video. All the shows, even the ones we didn't talk about on today's episode, will be listed there, so you can keep up to track there. But until next week, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and stay laughing.